You know, I mean, it's so great for me to be here with you because it's like we didn't even get to do a proper intro, but you like the anatomy superhero sort of thing. But you know, obviously that's only one dimension of what you do for sure. But it's for me, it's great to be at Purple Valley, which is like an Ashtanga paradise, and then doing all this. So this is cool. So it's like Christmas like only a week early or something. So Chaturanga, this is my way of getting back to Chaturanga. Chaturanga, how far down and how far forward? Because I've got like every video on the planet as far as Ashtanga goes, and I look at, you know, Swenson, John Scott, even Kino, they're all like this far from the floor at the bottom of their Chaturanga. Yet we often talk about keeping the upper arm.
When you say we?
We, maybe not then. Can I include my...
Is it kind of like they?
Yeah, maybe. Yeah. So some people talk about keeping the upper arm no deeper than parallel to the floor, which would mean like 90-degree angle, elbow, upper arm. Is that, do you go with that, or you say no, go down in?
I say let it be a process.
Okay.
And when you're a beginner, keep the right form, don't go down as low.
Yeah.
For the majority of people, I would say elbow is behind the wrist, not on top of the wrist.
This is once we've passed beginner stage?
No.
Okay, we're back at beginner stage?
Even at beginner stage.
Yes.
I think what happens is people think the elbow should be aligned like the knee should be aligned. And they go with this 90-degree angle, and anything below that is precarious and dangerous. I don't think that's true. In fact, I think if the elbow goes back behind the line of the wrist, you actually reduce the wrist angle.
Yeah.
So it's less pressure on the hand and the wrist.
Yeah. What about at the shoulder though?
And then at the shoulder, it means that the shoulder is pulled back closer to the hand, which is supporting it.
Sometimes you look at people though, and they've got that low chaturanga. It looks like you can almost see the top of the humerus pressing against the skin. You can see those forces coming forwards.
And I wouldn't say that a beginner should just plop down into that either.
Yeah.
So you got to tie together what we talked about with serratus, stabilizing the scapula, so that when you lower down, you're not going, you know.
Yeah, it's popping out.
Of course, that's a problem.
Yeah.
Because there's no stability there.
Yeah.
And then things are much more likely to get injured.
Yeah.
But if you've created the stability, as an advanced practitioner, like all the people who you named, have a very well-developed serratus anterior.
Yeah.
Because we've seen them all do the handstands and the arm balances, which means serratus is there.
Yeah.
So the shoulder is stabilized next to the scapula.
Yeah.
It's not a problem.
Okay.
Beginner, problem.
Okay.
I think this 90-degree angle and taking the shoulders too far forward,
yes.
I say play with it for a moment.
Yeah.
Put your hands, do the 90-degree thing.
Yeah.
Go forward into your shoulders and then go backward and see which puts more pressure on and stress on the shoulder. The exception that I find is people with shorter upper arms. They're 90 degrees and quite happy. Because you got to look at this as like it's like the pelvis, right? It's like a big area of body mass.
Yep.
So if that's further away from the foundation, in this case the hand, then it's going to require more muscular effort.
To hold it there.
The closer it is, the less.
Yeah.
When I do experiments in my anatomy workshops, like I ask the question, I'm always asking, is this true? For how many of you is it true?
Yeah.
So for 85, 90%, they say elbow back is more comfortable. And then there's some 15 to 20% that they feel more comfortable that way. So, okay, those of you who are the 15, 20, do it that way.
I mean, it's definitely harder work to take your shoulders forward.
Yeah.
But does that make it,
Does
it's
that
not the
mean
same as uncomfortable. It just means you're working harder.
Yeah. But you're working harder at a joint that's more vulnerable. So you got to be mindful of that part, right? Because the shoulder is a fairly vulnerable joint.
Yeah. Yeah.